Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Before Sunset. And this movie is once again directed by Richard Linklater and stars Ethan Hawke and I think this is how you pronounce her name, Julie Delpy? Delpy. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but basically what the story here is, it's pretty simple. And it's a sequel to Before Sunrise, and it takes place 9 years after the first movie. And these our two main characters meet again after the first movie, and that's pretty much the plot. And they pretty much catch up on what's happening in their lives a bit, and also they talk about other things that are very interesting. And just like the first movie, I fell in love with this movie. I can't really talk about this movie all that much unless I kind of get into spoilers. I won't spoil too much, but I just want to put that out there. Spoilers. I'm gonna have to talk about this movie a little in depth, simply because you can't really talk all that much about it unless you do, simply because this is a sequel to Before Sunrise, and if I don't spoil it, then I'm not gonna be able to say much. But before I do that, if you're still watching, I really love this movie, so go check it out. But check out the first one, then this one. Now, the movie opens up with Ethan Hawke describing a book that he wrote, and it's pretty much his experience with... it's pretty much from my understanding about the movie Before Sunrise. Like his experience with, I think this is how you pronounce her name, Celine? I don't remember how you pronounce her name. I'm just really bad at names. Don't ask why. I just never... I remember, I think in pictures, not words. But moving on. He's at a bookstore, and he's just talking about his book. He's at an interview, and then he meets Celine again, and he decides to spend the rest of the day with her because by sunset, he has an airplane he has to catch. And I really love how these characters interact with each other, and it's pretty much just catch up and talk about how their lives are. And I really love how they're catching up with each other a little bit, and they mentioned that they did plan to see each other at one point in between this movie and the first movie, and I forget exactly when, but it was like something that was planned, and they had no way of contacting each other if something went wrong. And they do acknowledge that that would have just gotten old, and it's within those the characters in the movie to say something like that because they established that they're those type of people in the first movie, and I was fine with it in this movie as well. And it was nice to see that this movie was staying consistent with the characters from the first movie over to here. There were also some nice long takes in the movie where characters are just walking along, and it never really cuts, and it just goes on for these long continuous takes, and everything feels so natural with the writing. And sometimes I can't even tell if it's just written that way or it's just improvised. It just feels that natural to me. I kind of wanted to mention my favorite scene in the movie, and this is something that was not in the first movie, where our characters kind of get really emotional and really talk about their feelings on something. And here we have a scene where it takes place in a car, and they're just driving over to Celine's apartment, and it's towards the end of the movie, and Celine just starts talking how she's like every person she's ever dated, and after she breaks up with them, they get married later, and she hasn't been married in her entire life, and she just kind of breaks up in that scene. And that even includes with Ethan Hawke's character Jesse, and he kind of falls in line with that tradition, because in between the first and this movie, the first movie and this movie, he's already married, and he has a 4-year-old boy. And he also describes after Celine talks about all the things that in her life that she just wanted to get off her chest, and after she says all that, Ethan Hawke starts talking about his life, and it's just bad 24/7. And he went through marriage counseling, his character, and he just can't really stay happy, and he's not exactly doing that great. all things considered. And the ending for the film was great, where Selena says that you're gonna miss your flight or plane. I don't remember the line, but Jesse then says, I know. And I really love that ending. Although I have talked about the serious moments in this movie and how much I really enjoyed them, and this movie is a lot more dramatic than the first movie. The first movie was more romance and kind of more lighthearted than this one is. This one's more of a drama than the first movie. And where this movie is similar in terms of tone, I wouldn't say it's the exact same film as the first movie. It does have some new takes on it. And it's also shorter, which is surprising to me. And the movie never got boring and was very smooth in terms of its pacing. But one thing that I did want to bring up is it's not all drama. There are some things brought over from the first movie over to this movie where Jesse just tells Celine that how much different she looks at. Just like, now you look thinner. And she's like, you thought I was a fatty? Like, stuff like that is great. I love scenes like that. And there's plenty of scenes that are like that and are fun to watch. And it doesn't really get dramatic until the end of the movie that scene where I was talking about them in the car. Now, a big question you might be asking, do I like this movie better than the first movie? I think I do. I genuinely do think this movie is an improvement over the first movie. Even though I don't think there's anything wrong with that movie, I think this movie has enough things that are new in it that make it stand out to me, and I think I'm more quickly to rewatch this movie. And I'm not trying to say that I would watch the second movie only and just ignore the first movie. I'll watch both the first one and this one back to back, but I would always look forward to the second movie the most. And I haven't seen the third one yet. And overall, this movie is fantastic. I was happy watching this movie, and it made me sad. It made me feel emotions. This movie came out 9 years after the first movie did, and they make it seem like that much time has passed for the characters, and there's a lot that they explore in this movie, and I really loved it. Highly recommend this movie. Check it out if you haven't already, even though I just spoiled it. I still think there's a lot of value to it, even though you are spoiled for it, if you decide to ignore my spoiler warning. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Before Sunset a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Before Sunset down below. And my social media links, they will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up. And that's going to be for Shutter Island. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.